welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday, and previewing and reviewing the latest shows from WWE, AEW, New Japan, and everything in between every Saturday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I am, of course, your host, James J., and it's a great day for wrestling. Because we are wrestling with us. Um, yeah, flying solo once again. But it was a good week for Wrestling With as we interviewed Warsaw on Tuesday and Kid Lat on Wednesday. Great interviews from both individuals. Definitely go out of your way to check those out in our archives if you haven't already checked them out. But always looking to the future. This upcoming Tuesday, we have Joe Bravo, and not the one that we interviewed from Austria. This one's from Puerto Rico. A veteran of the business, almost 30 years in the business. We talk about his time wrestling in Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, being Dominican himself. We talk about some matches against a legend, some legends such as Booker T, Jerry Lynn, Savio Vega. We talk about a missed adventure with Scott Hall and Sabu. Definitely a lot of great content in that interview for sure. And then this upcoming Wednesday, we have Mo Kelly, a part of Paradigm, the Dord member. We talk about Paradigm, getting into deathmatch wrestling, being a singles wrestler, being a tag team wrestler, title victories. We talk about his mom being in concessions for the events that he's in. We talk anime. We talk about the Freak Demon. We talk all things Mo Kelly, and um, it's definitely an interview you want to go check out when it drops this Tuesday. Alright, and then on the 31st, we have Class Kincaid, and on April 1st, it is not an April Fool's joke, we have Mayari on the show. So you can check out our social medias, Wrestling with E, for information on when we're interviewing people, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. And yeah, now that we're done putting ourselves over, we're never done, James. Who was that? I don't even know. I'm hearing voices at this point. Um, it was a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with the news. And maybe it wasn't so great of a day for wrestling as we lost an absolute legend, Chuck Norris. Um, Absolute legend has died, has passed away. He was known for his action movies, his time as a martial artist, and he had a one brief stint in WWE where he was the special guest enforcer for the match between Undertaker and Yokozuna's casket match. Um, his only WWE appearance, but it's definitely still a memorable one. Considering of how massive a star he was. I mean, a lot of people, um, love and respected Chuck. A massive badass as well. You don't mess with Chuck Norris. And yeah, now they're figuring that out in heaven. Our thoughts and prayers go out to his friends and family. Fantastic individual. And yeah. Speaking of elderly people, Ted DiBiase Jr. Ted DiBiase Jr. was acquitted of all charges that he was charged for. Um, he was not guilty on 13 counts of fraud against the elderly. He apparently stole money from elderly people that was in the amount of 14 million, I believe. I could have that number wrong, but the $1 million kid free. So no charges there, will not be arrested. He was looking up to 14 years in prison. So yeah, um, in the words of his dad, everybody's got a price. um, I'm not here to speculate, but I mean, it is a good time. It would be a good time for him to maybe get back with where Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes is in their rivalry. But I could also imagine WWE doesn't really want to touch him, considering, the bad press that he's had as of late. Um, Speaking of Randy Orton, he explained himself on Friday last night on his actions against Cody Rhodes, and he beat up Matt Cardona, which the crowd was very gleefully into it, cheering Randy Orton. Yeah, Randy Orton could, like I said, decapitate somebody in the middle of the ring, and the crowd would go cuckoo bananas for it. He's grandfathered in, and it's just dumb that they would think somebody as insignificant as Matt Cardona would get people to boo Randy Orton. Like, he could kick a puppy. He can throw an old woman out of a window. He could commit murder, and nobody would do a ding. They would say chant one more time. And that's just the way it is. It was dumb to think that they could get Randy Orton to get booed. It's just not happening. We also have new tag team champions. R-Truth and Damian Priest captured the tag team championships on Friday last night. SmackDown last night. Good for them, I suppose. I don't think Damian Priest is doing himself any favors being in the tag division, but that's, my opinion on the matter. Um, but yeah, it seems like they are on the highway to WrestleMania at this point. I mean, there's no guarantees that they have a match, but going in as champions, I can't say that there's not a good shot that they won't be there. Get as many people on the card, considering we only have like 5 matches, confirmed, and there's supposed to be 14. Um, so yeah, we'll um we'll see what happens with them as tag team champions. The fifth match I was mentioning was indeed Brock Lesnar and Oberfemi, or confirmed at this point. And yeah, it was a big moment on Raw. And yeah, massive pop for Oba. Oba, I haven't heard somebody get a pop like that in a really long time. And it was because Oba sewed up and sewed off. And apparently Brock even told him, "Put your foot on my chest," just to kind of ring in home, how powerful of a person Oba is. And I mean, some people will, shit on Brock Lesnar. Um, People don't really need a reason. But he Brock can be very giving when he wants to give to somebody, when he actually believes in somebody and wants to put him over. So for him to tell Oba, "Put your foot on me," I mean that's a stamp and approval in itself. And I kind of feel like Oba should have a really good chance of beating Brock at Mania. He should. Um, like I said the last couple of weeks, it does Brock no service to actually beat Oba. It will do a world of good for Oba to pin Brock. Speaking of WrestleMania, obviously this year, Las Vegas for the second time in a row. Next year, Saudi Arabia, or is it? Um, you could go somewhere else to talk about, to hear about the issues that are happening in the Middle East. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there myself. Maybe we'll do wrestling with, world news at some point, but that's definitely not tonight. But a lot of crazy stuff is going on in the Middle East right now. And there is impending suspicion that WWE might have to cancel their Saudi Arabia show in June because of this impending war. Um, the Formula One already dropped their trip to Saudi Arabia. So I feel like it's already kind of in the cards, and if this gets full blown out, then WrestleMania will definitely not be in Saudi Arabia as well. Um, I mean that's a year away. Anything could happen until then, but I'm sure they're optimistic about it. But again, there could be a war that starts now and ends in a couple of weeks. There could be another war that starts a couple of weeks before WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. Who knows at this point? The world's a crazy place. Um, I would say that it's a good. You wouldn't necessarily get this problem if you did WrestleMania in the States, or dare I just say, North America in general. Or, maybe not a country that has swords or machine guns on their flags. I'm just saying. Um, but yeah, WrestleMania may not take place there, which would be very controversial. Um, and I would like to see what they kind of do if they can't do it in Saudi Arabia. Will it be in the States? Will they do in UK WrestleMania? Will they do it in Jerusalem? Who knows? We don't know. WWE's just, I say WWE, but TKO, just pulling shit out of their ass at this point when it comes to, the money grab and all of that. I mean, that's the only reason WrestleMania took place in Saudi, is taking place in Saudi, is because, they want the money grab. They paid them an obscene amount of money. It'd be hilarious if they didn't actually come through with that and couldn't actually do the show. But that's just my opinion on it. Switching back to WrestleMania this year, Dennis Rodman, going into the Hall of Fame, definitely well deserved. A memorable part of WCW back in the day, sided with the NWO, Hulk Hogan, um, wrestled Diamond Dallas Page and another basketball basketball player that's escaping my mind right now. But yeah, a memorable figure. obviously had a match in WCW, never stepped foot in a WWE ring, but they're desperate for people to get into an attraction for the Hall of Fame, so it makes sense that they go with um Dennis Rodman. As for who inducts him, I think this would be great if Hulk Hogan. Oh wait, no, can't be Hulk Hogan. Um oh, Scott Hall. Oh no, did did Nash have any interactions with Dennis? Maybe. I mean, they they both played basketball at one point. Oh, I know. Oh, how about Kim Jong Un? Kim Jong Un can definitely induct um Dennis Rodman into the Hall of Fame. He'd gladly do it. They're good pals and chums. And maybe we'll even see WrestleMania in North Korea next year. If the whole Saudi Arabia thing doesn't work out. And don't think WWE wouldn't take that fucking money if it didn't show up. And speaking of WrestleMania, one thing that was on the rumor and innuendo list was who is Randy Orton talking to on the phone? He did an impromptu interview with Michael Cole on Monday where he was on the phone with somebody. And then the same thing kind of happened on Friday as well. Um, some people are saying Ric Flair. I don't think it's Ric Flair. Um, some people are saying it's the final boss. The Rock. Which God, I hope it's not. I don't think Randy Orton needs The Rock, and I don't think The Rock needs Randy Orton. Um, e- Especially if The Rock isn't going to come through on an actual payoff. Like he hasn't in the past, so I can't necessarily, get behind The Rock being in a storyline if he's not actually going to do anything. Um, Another name that would make sense is Cowboy Bob Orton, which I wouldn't be mad at. I love good old fashioned Bob Orton. So yeah, that would be cool. Another interesting name is Shane McMahon. That would be interesting considering we don't have any McMahons actively in the company. So to try and maybe do maybe a little, invasion angle, that would be interesting. Um, I don't know, but I would like it to be Shane McMahon selflessly. That would be pretty cool. I don't think anything significant is going to come out of it. Maybe a legend appearance, but I don't think we're going to get like a major, reveal, like a plot point in the story with Randy and Cody. So I think it's just something to maybe draw people off the scent, if that makes sense. I mean, he's going to one main event of WrestleMania to the other main event of WrestleMania. Punk um got his had his first altercation with Roman Reigns on Raw, where he punched him after Roman called him old. I mean, considering that Punk told Roman that he's going to bury him next to his father, and Roman had no reaction, and then Punk gets called old, and that's enough to provoke him. These scales are not balancing, in my opinion. It doesn't necessarily make sense, honestly. I feel like they could have did more, and they wanted to do more, but um, it's rumor and innuendo that Punk didn't feel comfortable bringing up Larry, his dog that passed away in November, in the storyline. Um, I'm not going to say that he's not warranted for not wanting to do that. I mean, I get it. Everybody grieves differently, and, obviously Larry was a big part of his life and his family. But, I mean, when you bring up somebody's dad that didn't pass away all that long ago, but you feel insecure about having your dog brought up, I mean, you kinda, don't dish it out if you can't necessarily take it. And I mean, Punk is a notorious shit talker. He always crosses, well, not always, but he does cross the line a lot of times. So for him to say, he didn't feel comfortable, getting personal, I would say it's a bit of a contradiction, if I'm being honest. Again, no slack on him for not wanting to bring Larry into the fold. But, if you don't want to bring Larry into the fold, don't bring up, people's dead dads into the fold either. You know, Lines need to be crossed in order to make things, pop a bit more in the storyline. And I emphasize the storyline. This it's all, kayfabe. It's all, a work. It's a storyline. He's Romans isn't actually going to, shit on your dog, in real life. It's just, a work. And for him to not be able to separate that, that kind of sucks, honestly. But, it is what it is. I mean, the build ups for that match has been okay. Not necessarily particularly the best build up for a WrestleMania match, but it has been better than others as well. So, to each their own, I guess. And I suppose it's better than what Gunter's got going on right now, which is absolutely nothing. Um, Supposedly, Gunter was supposed to have a match with Rey Mysterio, but Rey Mysterio is injured, which leaves Gunter up in the air. No clear direction on who he could wrestle. Um, I mean, I would even say that the match against Rey Mysterio would low key kind of suck because, I mean, what could Gunther really do with Rey? Like, legitimately, like, that's a Brock Lesnar versus Rey Mysterio scenario. So unless he was actually, low key going to retire him, I don't really see the attraction of that match. Um, that being said, I mean, they could have extended the stuff with Dragon Lee. That would have, it was getting some traction, I would say, but, maybe not a full-fledged WrestleMania match, but, considering, we have a lot of break glass in case of scenarios this year, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. Brock is busy with Oba. Um, so I mean, I question what they could have done with Gunter. Like, who do you put him against? I mean, it's a good question. I mean, they could put him with LA Knight, I suppose, but I mean, they're not really in rivalry. They could like make some type of bullshit scenario where they get into a rivalry, but I don't really see anything, significant coming out of that up until Mania. Um, Jacob is busy with Drew. I mean, they could do a SmackDown versus Raw match, but again, who do you put on the bracket for SmackDown against Gunter? I mean, they could do Dragunov Gunter. That would be a fucking banger. Not like they haven't had bangers in the past. But, I mean, that would low-key suck considering, what he's been able to do in the last couple of months with, ending John Cena's career and then ending AJ Styles' career. Not being able to get to WrestleMania and have a match at Mania? That would absolutely suck. Like, that is a moment of dropping the ball as hard as you possibly can. Like, the New Day would be, you know, has been a big ball drop because, obviously they were banking on, Big E to come back at some point to fight them. That obviously never manifested, which, dropped the ball with the New Day. But I would say that this would actually trump it. You put all of that time and effort into Gunter, and then you don't give him a match at WrestleMania? Like, what the fuck? I'm not into it. I don't like that. Um, whatever direction they're going in, um, there is a new director for WWE. Um, nobody that I know or is, you know, I don't want to say significance, but like I don't know who he is, so I couldn't really tell you what he's done. Um, but yeah, there's a new director. We'll see what he does. Um, I'm sure there will be a difference when it comes to, how things are shot. Whether or not that's good or bad, we shall see. Speaking of good and bad, very bad, very not nice. Ricochet in the hottest of waters. Um, we'll get into the specifics in our review, but um, he lost oh, the national champion. He lost the belt at Revolution. He drew a fit backstage. They uploaded that content to online on X, where a fan commented, "Well, his acting hasn't improved." Taking a shot at the melodramatic bad acting of Ricochet. This fan had on her profile something on the lines that she was a baseball fan, and I'm paraphrasing here, but something on the lines that she's trying not to let MS control her life. Um, MS, multiple sclerosis. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Ricochet took it upon himself to comment on what this fan had said to him. Not about, what she said, not, telling that fan off, not being a heel, just being the worst possible human being of all time. He, and I quote, said, "I'm glad you got MS." And there's some things you say as a heel and you could get away with it. I don't even think MJF could get away with saying something so fucking horrible. Like, legitimately, like, Ricochet, fuck you. Like, that's such a horrible thing to tell somebody. You know, even to go into to to even have the time, like, where does this guy have all this time to look at people's bios and then attack them using their their illnesses against them, their disabilities, anything like that. That's so horrible. Like that's not a heel. That's just a terrible fucking human person. Like I mean, if you want to be a heel, like tell them off. Like f you. You don't know nothing. Like tweet something else. Like go away. Block them if you really don't like it. But to say something as terrible as that you're glad that somebody has a disease, like that's terrible. And you know, AEW, you can get away with a lot in that company, but clearly even Tony Khan has his limits. And this is a guy that told Andrade, don't get in a fight with Sami Zayn. Then Andrade proceeded to punch Sami Zayn. No repercussions. Then you have him saying, "Hey, Andrade, are you clear to wrestle?" And then Andrade saying yes when he clearly was not cleared to wrestle. Um, it seems like there's a lot. Tony Khan has a high tolerance for bullshit. Obviously, um, Tony Khan was not happy. AEW was not happy, and Warner Brothers was not happy about what Ricochet said. Some are saying that he apologized on his own. I don't think that he actually did. Some people are saying that he's going to be off TV for some time, um, and taking some sensitivity classes. I don't know if that's the case. Some people are saying that he's on the cusp of getting fired. I don't know how true that is, but you know, clearly this guy needs to keep his mouth shut. Somebody, even told him on Twitter, you have a hot wife, you're a well-known professional wrestling across the world, and you're so you're so insecure. And I mean that's 100% accurate. Like only insecure people respond to online trolls. And I'm not saying that the person that said that about him, you know, is a troll or anything like that. But, obviously people will talk shit online. And if you respond to them, then they will continue doing it because they know they can get under your skin and they could, get to you and they could invoke a response from you. And I mean, Ricochet has been cooked more times on Twitter than. I mean, he's been cooked so many times that he's been burnt to a crisp. He doesn't take criticism. He can't take criticism. He is very insecure. And these cross outs that he's been having have been more frequent than none. I mean, so bad to the point where he's telling people that they deserve to have diseases. And AEW is actually picking up. MJF drew a, a soda on a child, and there was no repercussions for that. We didn't even hear that Tony Khan was angry at it. But this even bothered Tony Khan when it came to, his comments, because it's so, horrible. And AEW has done outreaches and charity work with people with disabilities. So, it doesn't necessarily look good for AEW, hey, we're all inclusive. People with hearing disabilities, we have headphones for you. But this one guy that works for us said that he's glad this person has MS. Like, yeah, no, that it doesn't work that way. Um, so yeah, it's not. I would say that AEW should maybe consider firing him if this is something a continuing trend, and it has been, and it's only gotten worse, as time to progress. What is he going to say next? And that's the scary part. People become liabilities at some point, and I would say Ricochet is not as much trouble as he's worth. So, from AEW's side, not saying that they should, but, maybe it's time to cut ties. Speaking of people with disabilities, Tom Brady, he did some type of interview where some type of interviewee asked him, how many pro wrestlers would it take to take you down on a football field? Um, Tom Brady proceeded to, talk shit about pro wrestlers and say all their stuff is so cute and scripted. There's no fake BS in football. Which is kind of rich coming from Tom Brady, considering that he was involved in a deflation of balls scandal. So, if anybody knows about fake shit, it's fucking Tom Brady. Fuck that guy. I mean, WWE was thinking about using him, um, but I would imagine that they would be retracting that decision as of now. Um, if you don't really respect the craft, you should, comment on it. And yeah, just like legitimately, like, fuck that guy. I mean, even if he came into WWE, I mean, what impact would he have? He has all the personality of a wet paper bag, and he's the stupidest motherfucker in the world because he let go of his entire family for a fucking football, to because he felt he needed to matter more. But I mean, I'm getting off topic with that commentary. We don't need Tom Brady in WWE. We don't need Tom Brady around pro wrestling. Let him be his little football self and alone and doing his thing, and let the pro wrestlers pro wrestle. Uh Going back to AEW news, Hangman Adam Page is taking time off as of right now. Um, his contract with AEW actually expires in the summer. Um, with everything that happened on Saturday, there is speculation that he may be leaving the company. I don't think so, honestly. Like, I feel like Hangman Page is one of those guys that nobody really wants other than AEW. I don't see WWE making him an offer. I don't see where New Japan would feel like a Hangman Page would balance the scales for them. TNA, I mean, TNA is all inclusive at this point. Like, I mean, they might take him, but like, I mean, it's not necessarily going to change anything for their company if they had a Hangman Page. I don't imagine that he'd be making more money in TNA than he is in AEW. So I don't know if that would be Yeah. I I mean there's speculation, but I don't think that there's any credible source to actually say that he's going somewhere else. Again, I don't think WWE would want him. The only reason they would want him is to take him away from AEW, and I think that he kind of already, you know, whatever reputation he had, he destroyed it himself. I mean, he's not necessarily calling people out on their disabilities or anything, but he's not necessarily doing himself any favors when he opens his mouth either. And with him in, the back seat right now, somebody completely out of the car is a one Toni Storm. She will be taking an extended leave of time to deal with an injury written off TV. Um, it's undisclosed of what she may have, but they do see that she's going to be out for a while. Which sucks because obviously, she's one of the bigger attractions in AEW at this point. So no Toni Storm, is going to do them damage. But, I would say that wouldn't be a bad idea for Toni to kind of, go away for a couple of months, get a new fresh paint of coat on her, and have the people be happy to see her again. I don't think that they were trying on her at any point, but um, you know, it's always nice to have that, um, happy to see you back, pop. So I think it would be, you know, good for her to take that time off as well. So, hoping the best for Toni Storm, whatever, may be going on with her. All right, I believe that's it for the news for this week. And now a quick word from our sponsors.
Hey, folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.